Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a product mockup and a mug mockup in CorelDraw. Now this process isn't quite as easy as it is in Photoshop using smart objects, but we can accomplish a similar look using CorelDraw and CorelPhoto-Paint. So the first thing we're going to do is bring in our two products. We'll grab our mug and our mat and we'll bring both of those into CorelDraw. I'm going to blow this one up a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this background on both of these images. That way you'll be able to change the background to a different color or use a photo in the background or anything you want to do when you're using these mockups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pen tool and I'm going to zoom in on this one a little bit. And with my pen tool, I'm going to draw a line all the way around. And we don't have to get it perfect going around because we can come back and adjust this a little bit if we need to with our shape tool. But I just kind of want to get this, pretty close so we don't have a lot of extra editing to do once we get this completed. We'll just come around these corners. When we get back to the beginning point, you'll see the little O on our cursor, which means that we're on top of the starting point. So by clicking right there, that'll close that path. Now I'm going to get my shape tool. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. I'm going to adjust some of these nodes. Check these corners and make sure everything looks good. This one needs a little bit of work here. Now this node I need to break it so I can have a sharp corner there. So I'm going to come up here and click on cusp to break these two handles and bring that one down. I just want to try to cut out that kind of jagged area along the edge. Alright, I think that looks pretty good right there. So we'll scale it back out some. And next we'll go over here to our mug and we'll do the same thing. We're just going to draw a line around the outside. Then we're going to draw a line around this inner part. So we're going to go back to our pen tool and we'll just start here on the corner. And just start drawing that line around the mug. Like I said, we don't have to get it perfect right now. We just want to get it as close as we can, and then we can come back and edit these nodes once we get the whole thing drawn around. Then here we'll have to break those handles when we come back, so I'm just going to go ahead and just continue drawing this around. And again, when we get back to the starting point, you'll see the little circle on our cursor. So when we click here, we know that we're back to the beginning and we've closed that path. So now let's grab our shape tool again. We'll zoom in a little more and we'll adjust these handles. We'll get this little corner down here. And when you do these for real, you can take a little bit more time and get these perfect. because when you do these mock-ups for your customers, you want these to look really nice. But I'm just trying to hurry through it a little bit so don't take as much time. I'm going to delete that point because I got one too many there. Then we can move this one back some and adjust that one to get that curve there. That looks pretty good. Then this one will break that node again right here, so we can create a sharp corner there. Let's move that handle in some. And then since these two are still connected, I'm going to click this smooth node. That way they'll move independently of one another. I can bring this side in a little bit and leave that one longer. So that's pretty good. We got that all the way around. Now we'll go back to our pen tool and we're going to select this inside area. And again, we get back here, we get that little circle, knowing that we're going to close that. Click there and we close that path. Now I'm going to get my shape tool again, click on that node right there, click on smooth node, and again it's going to adjust that one little point, and we're good. Alright, so I'm going to zoom back out, and now we've got our paths around both of our products. And what I'm going to do with this one is, I'm going to select this outer path and that inner path. And I'm going to come over here, I'm going to click on combine, and now with those combined I'm going to choose a color. I'm just going to right click to take off the stroke. Then on this one I'm going to click on the path that I just made. I want to fill that with a color. Right click to take off the stroke on that one. Now I'm going to come over here and click on the shape that I just drew. I want to hold down shift and click down here to select that picture. I'm going to come up here to my toolbar and I'm going to click on intersect, and now I can delete that shape that I just made. I can click down here and I can delete that picture, and now I have this object with no background. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this cup. I'm going to click the shape that I drew, hold down shift, click on the picture, hit intersect. Now I can delete the picture below. I can delete that shape, and now I just have a cup with no background on it. So now you could do anything you want to do. You could make a box, fill it with a color, and then send that to the back. And then you could change this color to whatever you wanted to change it to. You could put a picture behind it. Either one of these items you could do that with. Put a picture behind it, put a color behind it, because we totally knocked out the background on both of those. Okay, so this cup, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that cup, slide it over to the left, and I'm going to right click to make a copy of that. Then I'm going to come up here and click to mirror that. So I've got a right-handed cup and a left-handed cup. Sometimes you might have a customer who wants the image on the left side of the cup. Sometimes they might want it on the right side of the cup. And sometimes you might have an image that wraps all the way around the cup. And this way you can show any of the three different styles. Okay, so we're going to start off with this matte. Let's blow that up just a little bit. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a path around this area where we want the image to go. So we're going to get our pen tool again, and we're just going to draw a shape around there again. But this time we're just going to draw it around the white area. And we're going to use this shape to put our image into. We'll grab our shape tool again, make a few little adjustments. And I think that'll work pretty good. Now we come over to our mugs, and we want to kind of create a shape to go on our mugs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the pen tool. I'm going to go down to the 3-point curve. I'm going to click here. I'm going to draw a line straight across. I'm going to come back here to the middle. I'm going to bend that up just a little bit. Then I'm going to come down here to the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing. Click, draw the line. Come down here, bend it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to get my 2-point line tool. I'm going to click here, draw a line straight down. I'm going to click right here on the edge, draw a line straight down. And then with those lines there, now what I'm going to do is select my Smart Fill tool. I'm going to click in the middle here to fill that area. Now I can select all those lines that I drew, deselect this color in the middle, and delete all those lines. Now I'm going to grab this, drag it straight across. I'm going to right click to make a copy, but I'm also going to flip that so it matches this exactly, but in reverse. I want to make sure I get it right there on the edge, make sure I get them even. So now we have the cup set up for our wraparound image or our single-sided image or whatever. Okay, so we're going to come back to our mat. We've drawn this line around where our image is going to go. Let's go to File, Import. And we'll bring this image that we want to put on the mat, and we'll import that. We'll place that there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this image inside this path. So I'm going to right click on the image. I'm going to go to Power Clip Inside, and I'm going to click on that line that I drew. Now that image is inside that line. Now what I'm going to do is come down here to these 4 little icons. The first one is the Edit, the Power Clip. I'm going to click that. I'm going to click on my image, and then I'm going to come up here to Edit Bitmap. And what that's going to do is open CorelPhoto-Paint so we can manipulate this picture to fit in this area. And if Edit Bitmap is grayed out when you try to click on it, what you'll need to do is fix the association you have between CorelDraw and CorelPhoto-Paint. So what you'll need to do is in CorelDraw, you'll need to go to Tools, you'll need to go to Customization, go to Global, go to Filters, go to Association, press this Reset button, and then make sure CDR CorelDraw is checked off right there in CorelDraw. Then press OK. Then what you'll need to do is open up PhotoPaint, and you'll need to do the same thing in PhotoPaint. You'll need to go to Tools, Customization, go to Global, Filters, Association, click this Reset button, and make sure CPT is selected in CorelPhoto-Paint, and then click OK. Then you'll need to quit both applications and restart both applications, and then your Edit Bitmap button should work. So let's get back to the image. We're still in the mode of editing the power clip. We've selected the image. We're going to click on Edit Bitmap. That's going to open this image in CorelPhoto-Paint. And you can see here it says matte artwork.jpg. And what we're going to do is manipulate this image to fit that matte. The first thing we need to do is double click on this icon to make that an object. And we don't need 2 of them, so I'm just going to click this second one and throw that away. We'll click on this object, and we'll scale that down just a little bit. Now I want to bring in that matte. I'm going to do File, Import, click on my desktop, and I'll open up that matte image again into CorelPhoto-Paint. I'm just going to scale that up to fit that area. And we really only need this white part, so I'm going to scale it up a little bit more. Now what I'm going to do is click on this layer, and I'm going to drag that beneath our artwork layer, and I'm going to click this little lock to lock that layer. Now I'm going to choose my artwork layer again, and we're going to work on manipulating this image to fit this matte. So the first thing we're going to do is just click this once. We're going to rotate it. Just try to get that kind of to match. Another thing we can do is come up here to our object manager, click this, and we'll lower the opacity of the artwork a little bit so we can see through the image. Now I'm going to move this here, and I'm going to scale it up a little bit. And then this part of the image, I'm going to scale that down a little bit, just to kind of start getting it to match the shape of that mat. Now you notice that when this image is selected, we have these little boxes here on the corners and in between. If we click this a second time, we get the rotate tools and the skew tools. So with the skew tool selected, I want to skew this a little bit. About right there, just to kind of match that. Scoot that back over. Now I'm going to click back until I get the boxes. I'm going to drag this back out a little bit more. Now I'm going to click once to get the rotate. I'm going to click twice to get these little double-ended arrows on each corner. And these arrows are kind of a free transform kind of mode. So if we click on one of these arrows, we can kind of drag that part of the image where we want to, just kind of skew it the way we want to. We'll grab this one here, pull that down a little bit. We'll grab this one up here, and we'll pull this in. Now we'll grab it again and we'll pull it back up some, about in there. We'll grab this corner one again, pull that back out a little bit. So all we're really doing is just kind of skewing this image to fit the shape of that product. And like I was saying, in Photoshop, it's a little bit easier because you can set up your smart objects, and then your smart objects will do all the skewing to make the image fit the smart object. But in here, we're having to do it kind of manually to make it fit this, to make the image fit this. So now I'm going to click back on the little boxes. I'm going to scale this out a little bit more. We've almost got it. Just need to skew this top part a little bit more. Alright, I think that's pretty good. So as you can see, it takes a few minutes to kind of get that skewed around the way you want it, but after you do a few of these, you probably get a little quicker doing this. So once we have this kind of where we want it, I'm going to click on that object layer with the mat, unlock that. I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to click back on my image here, come back up here to my object manager, turn that opacity all the way back to 100%. And now you can see we have this kind of skewed that where it's going to fit that mat when we bring it back in. So let's hit finish editing, save changes, yes. So now when we go back to CorelDraw, click back on that mat, you'll see that it's skewed that image to fit the orientation of this. We'll grab our pick tool and we'll just scale that up just to get it to fit. Now it looks like we got it all inside the box right there, so we'll click here to finish editing that power clip. And now you'll see we have that inside the power clip. So while this power clip is selected, let's come up here and right click to take that stroke off. And you'll see it looks a little bit funny, like it's a white piece of paper stuck on there. So we'll click on here to edit the power clip again, click on that image. We'll come over here to our object properties, and we're going to click this first icon here to bring up our transparency, and we're going to change this from normal to multiply. Then we're going to click on here to finish editing the contents, and now that looks like that the image is on the mat and not just on a white piece of paper. So that's how you get the mock-up done in CorelDraw using CorelPhoto-Paint to manipulate the image. Like I said, in Photoshop, just using smart objects will do that. But if you have CorelDraw and CorelPhoto-Paint, you can get the same kind of effect. Okay, let's go over to the mugs, and we're going to bring in another copy of that same image. And what we want to do with this image is we want half of the image on this mug and half of the image on this mug. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put it up there, kind of scale it to kind of fit that area. I'm going to put a little line right there to kind of help me see where the center is. So I'm going to drag this out. And I want this little X right here on that line. So let me scale it back in some. That's pretty good right there. So I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to click on it, drag down, right click and make a copy. Now I'm going to draw a square around each side. So I'm going to get my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and draw a square here to select the left half. I'm going to get my pick tool, click that, drag it over here to the right half, right click to make a copy. Now I'm going to place each image in one side. So I'm going to click on the image, right click, power clip inside. I'm going to click on that line that I drew to put it inside there. Now I'm going to click on this image, right click, power clip inside, click on this box down here, clip it in that one. So now we have each side of our cup set up. Now what we're going to do is click on this. We're going to go to our envelope tool. And if you don't have the envelope docker open, just go to Window, Dockers, come down to Effects, and click on Envelope to open that. Once you have the envelope tool open, click on your image, click on this little eyedropper. Now we're going to click on the left cup on this shape we made for the left cup. So our image will take on this shape. Now we'll click on this right picture, click the eyedropper, click this right shape. So now we have both of those in the shape of the cup. I want to click on both of these cups, drag it down here. I'm going to right click to make a copy of those mugs. I'm going to grab both of these, drag those over, and I'll drop those on the cups. We want these edges here, right on the edge of the cup, so it looks like it's wrapping around the cup. I'm going to go to Object, Order, to the front of the page to bring those forward. I'm going to click this one, scoot that to the right just a little bit. That's good. I'm going to select both of these. I'm going to right click to take off the stroke. And again, you'll notice it looks kind of funny, like a piece of paper is just stuck on the cup. So I have an easy way to fix that. We're going to go back to our object properties. I'm going to click on this graphic on the left first. Click on Edit Contents. I want to click on that image inside the box. Come over here to Transparency, change that to Multiply. Finish editing. Now I'm going to click on the right side, edit the power clip, click on the image, come back to Transparency, change that to Multiply, finish editing, and now the white background has gone away and it looks like the image is actually on the cup, so you can see what it's going to look like when it wraps around the cup. So there's both products done in CorelDraw with the assistance of CorelPhoto-Paint, like the two that we did in Adobe Photoshop using the smart objects. Like I said, there's a few more steps to doing it in CorelDraw and Photo-Paint, but it can be done. Now I want to show you a couple other little tips. If you don't have an image like this that wraps around, if you just have like some text and a logo you want to put on, I've got a few more mugs over here I'll show you real quick. So let's take this mug here. We'll blow that up some. Let's say you want to put some text across the top, text across the bottom, and say a school mascot in the middle. So let's zoom out for just a minute. And we'll come over here and get a copy of this logo. And I'll zoom that back in some. I want to grab this rectangle tool. I'm going to draw a box here. I'm going to right click to take the stroke off, left click to fill that. Now what I want to do is come over here to my envelope tool. I'm going to click on the single arc. I'm going to click Add New. I'm going to grab this bottom line and I'm going to pull that up just to have kind of an arch like that. Then what I want to do is get my pick tool, grab that, drag straight down, right click to make a copy. I'm going to flip that. I'm going to hold down my shift and I'm going to scale that down a little bit. I'm going to move these in just a little. And I'm going to click on this one and scale that one down just a little bit as well. Now what we can do is take our image, put it here in the middle. We can even make these boxes a little taller if we want to. We can get our text tool and we'll type a school name. Let's say Forestville. We'll change that font to, let's say, College. Now we'll click and drag that down. Right click to make a copy. We'll select that text and we'll change that to Cardinals. I'm going to grab this first text. I'm going to click on the eyedropper. I'm going to click on this shape. And now you'll notice that text is taken on the shape of this box. I'm going to click this text, click the eyedropper again, click on this box, and now this one's taken on the bottom shape. So I'm just going to move these down here into place. I'm going to move these boxes out of the way here. We can save these and reuse them for other things also, but I'll also show you how we can reuse these that already have text in them. We'll drag that down, center that up, grab this one, center that up. And then what we can do is apply some effects to this. We can grab both of those. We can add a color. We can also right click to add a little stroke, maybe like a 1-point stroke around those letters. And now we have that set up. And with these boxes, you could make different shapes of boxes. If you just wanted one that's a double arch, you could make different boxes to have available for different kinds of text. You can also scale him up just a little bit. I'll blow this up just a little bit more so we can see. There's also effects that you can apply to your text. If you click on this, click on your text, click on Object Properties. What we'll do is we'll make a copy of this. So we'll just do Edit, Copy, or Control-C to copy. We can come here to our Uniform Fill. We can change that to a vector. Click here on the pop-up menu, and we can choose any of these vectors as like a texture. So if we wanted to choose this carbon fiber, we could click on that, apply that, and we can click these 3 little dots, which brings up some options, and we can scale down this effect a little bit. So we can scale that down some. We can even click here and change to a different texture if we want to. There's abstract ones, there's animal prints, there's decorative, there's all kinds of different textures you can apply. And you can scale that effect down or scale that effect up, and just different ways to manipulate it here with these settings. And once you have that the way you want it, just click X to close the window. Whoops, I forgot to apply that effect. Let's do that again. I want to bring that effect down a little bit. I'll click OK to apply that. Now if you remember, we made a copy of this text before we applied that effect to it. So let's do Control V to paste that back in. And that carbon fiber effect we applied is still there. We just pasted this over the top. So what we're going to do is change the transparency of this top lettering so it'll blend in with the carbon fiber below it. So we're going to come over here to transparency, click on where it says normal, and we'll try multiply. And we can see that's too dark. Let's click on it again and let's try overlay. That's pretty good. And we can try screen. That's too light. So we're going to go with overlay, and you can try those different ones to see if there's an effect you like better. But we can just leave it with that. So we have a little bit of texture in there. And you can go back and change that pattern in the fonts below if you want to. You know, if you decide you don't like the way that looks, you can go in and choose a different texture. Or if you just decide you don't want to be able to see the texture at all, you can just go back to normal and just have the red text. And then one last thing I was going to show you was, let me cut these. I'm going to delete these behind for now. Paste the red ones back in. Like I was saying a while ago, if you have this set up, someone else comes in, wants the same cup, but wants a different logo with different wording, but wants the same style, you can just get your text tool and you can just click on this. It'll bring up this little window and you can change the name. We'll call it Forest Park. You can see it changes the name. And we'll click on this one. Maybe instead of cardinals, they like to be called the redbirds. We'll just change that. We'll scoot that over to center that. So that's how you can just reuse the text boxes that you've already got set up. So I guess that's about it for now. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. If you like this video and would like to see more, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to be notified of new video releases. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, and Snapchat at rhinoXnation. If you would like to join our Facebook group to ask questions or download files from our videos, please click the link in the description below to join. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you later.